Welcome back to What Would It Cost? Today we're talking with Christian Schiavone from the Tyler McClay team about all things real estate and breaking into the real estate market.
And big shout out to the sponsor, Nove Baci. They're at Kiel and McNaughton. They're an Italian restaurant. They're awesome. Under new management, the Picentes, who have been in the restaurant game for years and years and years. Amazing pizza, amazing pasta, bruschetta, calamari, all that other good stuff that's comes standard on the Italian menus.
It's a great, beautiful place, beautiful outdoor patio. So definitely go check them out on a beautiful sunny day. What is it going to cost?
How much? Hi, my name's Nicholas Regina.
My name's Michael Sakuro.
And you're listening to
What Would It Cost?
Good?
Hey guys, so great to be on here. I'm so happy to be on here and to finally meet both of you. Again, my name is Christian. Little introduction. I like taking selfies, drinking tequila after work, and I'm only really on here because it's great publicity. I'm just kidding. I'm here because you guys are incredible. I've heard nothing but great things, and I'm excited to share with everyone what it's like to be a new agent, because I think that tons and tons of people have that question.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's probably the number one question I get from strangers.
Yeah. We've had our audience reach in, and a lot of people that are in the business request this. So you're officially the youngest agent that we've hosted this far. 22 years old. Right?
I am 22 years old.
Yeah, but you got off to an awesome start joining the McClay team and putting in a lot of hours, and your work ethic and your passion. It's felt
for sure
when you start talking about it. So
for sure.
Bring us into that.
I'll dive in a little bit about where I was. So let's rewind about 4 years back. I went to Schulich School of Business.
Very nice.
As you guys know, it's the number one business school in Canada. Definitely, it was a tough journey. It's not easy. I majored in accounting and financing, thinking I was going to be working in Bay Street. Yeah. Little did I know, I hated Bay Street, and I just didn't like what that industry had to offer. Okay. I mean, it's very respectable for people who do it, but for me, it just wasn't it. And unfortunately, in universities, they don't talk about entrepreneurship enough. They don't talk about sales enough. And so when I graduated business school, I was like, wow, there's a whole other world out there that's like sales and business. And then I started networking, meeting agents. And then fast forward to January, I got my license and joined the McClay team. So I've been in the business for about, I guess you could say, 6 months officially, a year unofficially. Yeah. And so it's been a great start. The Tyler McClay team has just been out of this world. They're fantastic. Nice. And I've learned more than I can even imagine. I think that as a new agent, it's so important to, I guess, build that experience, and building that experience comes with time. And I think that by joining a team, you're just fast forwarding that. You're just like expediting the whole process, because like you said, you're just surrounded by powerhouses who've been in the industry. They have the experience and they can show you the ropes no matter what the situation is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good move on you to join that. Shout out the McClay team and Tyler.
Shout out.
And even with his mother joining the brokerage most recently with over 45 years experience. And again, you're surrounded and in an incubator of complete all-stars. So good on you for recognizing that, though.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
Plugging into that. Because these are habits now that you're going to form that are going to stick with you for your whole career, and you're going to be an absolute beast.
Well, that's the thing. It's a lot easier to build good habits than try and fix your bad habits. Yes. So for me, it was just like, how do I start this off on the best note? And for me, it was just like join a really good team. Right. Not only because they do a lot of sales, but because they're actually good people. Yeah. And that was like the biggest thing. You become the person you surround yourself with. Like if they always say like the 5 people you hang out the most with or you spend the most time with are the people the person you become. Absolutely. And that's really what it has been the last 6 months.
Absolutely.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
100%.
It's awesome.
Very well
said. And take us through the journey now becoming a realtor, because I know like for some younger realtors that we know, or people are aspiring to become a realtor, it's a little hard to understand. Like now it's through Humber College, what that looks like in costs, what the courses look like. So take us through that journey. Yeah,
I'll take you through it. It's definitely an interesting journey. I wouldn't say it's pleasant, but it's definitely informative. So it's basically 6 courses. They're pretty much all very much the same sort of style. You learn the basics, the definitions, and then you have an exam at the end of the course. Yeah. It's freestyle in the sense that you can go at your own pace. I ended up completing the whole course or the whole program in 4 months. So I just, I sped through that like a boss. I was just,
Schulich,
I mean, that's another thing too, going back on Schulich, like having the undergrad prepares you for stuff like that, because you can just fly through it. And so I was booking the exams before I even started the courses. Wow. And I recommend that to all agents because it puts pressure on you to get it done and to actually learn the material. So I would click through all the content, book the exam 2 weeks in advance, and I said, okay, now I have 2 weeks to learn the entire course.
Wow.
And that was the best way I could have done it, because I actually forced me to sit down and spend 6 hours a day learning the content. Right. And 2, I actually did very well in the exams because I learned everything in 2 weeks.
Okay. Right.
People who spend like half a year on one course, you're not going to remember what you learned in January.
Yeah. Good point.
So that's the way, that was my approach. That was my approach. So you basically have 4 classic courses, exam style, and then you have 2 simulations. The simulations, again, are very interesting. You're on a group class environment where you're doing simulation style situations. They basically try to mock what a real life situation would be with a client.
Okay.
Again, you're never going to prepare yourself for that. So even though it's a good experience, a lot of agents do like those simulations. I personally knew that this is not what it was going to be like in the real world because it's not cookie cutter. Right. And I wish that's what Humber explained more, is that even though we are doing these simulations, in life, it can go any other way. There's 100 possibilities on how a situation can go, if that makes sense. So you have a buyer, they want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, that could change 3, 5, 10 times. You need to know what to do when that changes, how to go about it, how to manage their expectations. And they don't really teach that. So for me, any new agents, when you're doing these simulations, keep that in mind so that when you are role playing, like that's not what it's going to be like in the real world.
Right. Okay.
And so in terms of costs, pretty standard, it's about $500 a course. The whole program's going to run you about $3,000, and then all your onboarding fees. So your onboarding with the brokerage, your initiation fees. With Treb, it's about $2,000, and then with the brokerage, I think it's about $1,500, $2,000.
Okay.
So what are you in with that? I'm not great at math. $5,000, $7,000, about $7,000. So it is a quite large investment. Nothing that I'm not used to with undergrad university, but if you are preparing to do it, I would save at least $10,000 because even when you do finish everything, you're going to need startup costs for photography, branding, headshots. So all that gets accounted for too. So for me, I would say $10,000 all in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it would about cost.
And might be a dumb question, but just thought of it because you've gone through the schooling aspect. Is there like the coverage for, because now it's going through Humber College,
right?
So do you get like the OSAP for it as well? Can you apply for that? For
I think you can apply.
It might be a big cost.
Yeah, no. I think you can apply for it. I just don't know if they actually fund OSAP for a real estate program because it's not like an actual university program with like semesters and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know the details around that. That's actually something they should probably look into. Yeah. I mean, I hope they don't fund it because then I think everyone's going to be getting the real estate license and everyone's going to be a realtor. So hopefully OSAP, like please don't fund the real estate program at Humber. That's all I ask. Please don't fund it. Sorry for those who need the funding.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, for going through that process. And then what's it look like? So now you signed up, you joined, you paid your fees, you paid your dues. You're saying about the headshots, and then what's that look like now? Your next couple months, I'd say, like prospecting and trying to get clients.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, time and money. Those are the 2 big sacrifices. In terms of prospects and stuff, what I'm doing, the first thing, which I know you guys have heard a lot, but it's the most important thing, is to work your sphere of influence. Work the people you know, that they know you, they love you, they trust you, because those are the people that you're going to convert into a sale first, because they already know you. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10. When you meet someone, you're at a 0. When you know and love someone, like your like family, your Zia, they're 10. Yeah. So for me, it's like use the people that are at 7, 8, 9, and 10 first. Let them know you're in the industry. Let them know why you got into the industry, and let them know why they should choose you and not their neighbor next door or their cousin. Right. So that would be my number one thing. That's my first, I guess you could say, step with prospecting, to just work your influence. The second step is, as you guys know, build a social media influence. I know it's repetitive, but that's what you're going to need in this industry. For me, I have a very different outlook. I think that the traditional styles of prospecting, so you have door knocking, you have cold calling, I think those are going to go extinct. A lot of people don't like when I say that, but it's going to go extinct. I have my sister's generation, they're younger. They don't pick up the phone. Right. I haven't seen her pick up her phone in years, but she'll answer a text. She'll answer an email. She'll answer a direct message, but she won't pick up the phone. Right. Door knocking. How many people are going to be opening doors after COVID? So for me, I think it's going to go extinct. And I think a social media presence is super important, but an organic and authentic one. And I want to really emphasize on organic and authentic. A lot of new realtors think they have to show up a certain way, unfortunately, because they feel like they have to prove themselves. Don't. Be honest. My first video was, I'm a new agent and this is why I got into the industry, and these are the challenges I'm going to be facing, and like I'm ready to have you guys a part of the journey. Good for you. So like, man. Do that and be honest, be transparent. Your captions, when you have it, again, be authentic so that they don't see through you and they see you for who you are. And I think that's the best way of building the first audience that you guys build, because like that's going to be your close audience, your niche audience. And then the third step is don't be shy. Like, talk to everyone. So like, I've been getting to the habit of talking to everyone I see. I'm at Starbucks, talk to the person in front of me, talk to the person behind me.
Good for you, man.
And that's, I think, prospecting in itself. People overlook that. They think that prospecting has to be, let me pull up a logbook and call every single number. No, it means talking to everyone you see. You go to a club. I went to a club recently and I was handing out more business cards then than I was at an open house. And I'm not kidding. Someone was just like, oh, I like your shirt. Oh, I like your shirt. Hey, blah, 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 blah. And then we got into it. It's just like, what do you do for work? What do I do for work? And they're exchanging business cards.
Yeah.
You see them with their friend, you do the same thing. Bartender.
I
love that.
Yeah, you have to love the hustle. And for me, that is the best kind of prospecting because number one, you're there for the same reason.
Right.
Why are you at a club? You're there to dance and have a good time. Why are you at a coffee shop? You're there to get a Starbucks. So like you already have one element in common that you wouldn't have when you pick up a phone with a stranger. Because you have to find that element in common when you connect with a stranger, not with someone that's in the same room as you. So when you work the room, that alone can give you a whole new sphere to work with. And so that's my way that I've been prospecting. And then of course, because Tyler, his parents are old school, I'm still doing a little bit of cold calling, door knocking. It's not my favorite, but it definitely does teach you good lessons. And I have made some good contacts doing so. So definitely not discrediting it. I just think that in 20 years, it's not gonna.
No, but to even go by what you're saying, so let's say you take like a 2 kilometer radius, you're gonna hit maybe like 100, 150 houses. Whereas with social media, you could hit 10,000 people within the hour.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with where you're going with that. Like looking at, what's the outlook of your prospecting? It's gonna be knocking on every door, lettering, all that, or just taking a video and explaining about the market. Right,
and the reach is also unlimited in the sense that you're not just reaching your follower count. Like on Instagram or TikTok, let's say Instagram Reels, I only have about 1,000 followers, but one of my Reels got like 6,000 views, 8,000 views. So like, it's not limited to just your followers. So for me, it's a given. Like I rather have my face in front of 8,000 people than 100 people if I'm door knocking. Yeah.
Good. And it's so cool too that you had them in that order of 4. And even though you didn't prioritize 4, but the brokerage that you're with, and because they have certain core values that help them break into the market in a really good way. You respect that. You've gained the experience for it. You understand it. So it's not like you just said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to learn it. I'm not going to experience. I don't respect that. That's not the way of the future. Even though you think that of it, you still gave it enough time, enough respect, and enough of an understanding to say, okay, I get that too. I did it. I get it. Even though I don't believe in it's the way to break into the markets into the future as aggressively as you want to. And as you should, right? If you got the ambition that you got, you still got that love and respect for your brokerage and the people that are putting you on and saying, all right, I'll learn this, I'll try it, I'll see what it's all about, right? And you take it with a grain of salt. Right?
You have to take it with a grain of salt. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And no, you have to do that. I think people again in our generation, a lot of new agents don't want to do things they don't like. So you got to do the things you don't like so that you can eventually do the things that you do like. And get out of your comfort zone. Because that's what's going to teach you the most life lessons.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Awesome.
And I know it's only been 6 months, but is there a niche you're leaning towards, being a buyer's agent, seller's agent?
No, good question. I still don't know entirely what niche I want to do, and I think it's important for new agents to not pick a niche right away. Because you don't know what you're good at, and you don't know who your audience is. So be open-minded. The niche will kind of fall into place, of course, with a little bit of like your own input, but for me, I'm already starting to lean with buyers. I like the experience with buyers. My favorite thing about buyers is the emotional aspect, how emotionally invested they are in the purchase. Whereas the seller's like, just sell my house and give me top dollar. Just give me top dollar and just sell the house and sell it fast. So for like buyers, I like the emotional aspect of it. I like the journey I get to take them on, and I like the relationship in the sense that by the end, I like we have a group chat with one of my clients called House Homies. Another one, it's like tequila, because we love tequila. It's like 1942, or like Julio is my daddy or something like that. And like it's fun to have those relationships with your clients that you can't really have with like investors or maybe like sellers that just want the sale. Of course, you can build that relationship. I just find it easier with buyers. So my niche would be probably first-time home buyers, and I really like pre-con. And luckily for the Tyler McClay Realty Group, which again, this is why I say join a team or join some sort of team environment, because you get access to these resources like builders, networks, like the opportunity to meet sales forces, builders, developers that you can't normally meet on your own. So I really like pre-con. I also think the future of real estate is pre-con. The future of the next generation is pre-con. So those would be my 2 niches right now.
Very cool.
Touch base with me a year from now. We'll see where we're at. I imagine I'm just like, no, screw buyers. I'm with the sellers.
But and I seen the McClay team yesterday at the Liberty Grand at a very exclusive.
I was there.
Right. Yes. And so to have access to these projects again at such a young age, be able to introduce this to your demographic and your clientele, right, is massive. Is massive. Very
it definitely
cool.
is. It definitely is. I'm super grateful.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Now, being a new agent and 6 months into it, what's the biggest challenge you've faced so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is the stereotype or the notion that experience comes with age or experience comes with a long time in the industry, which, in my opinion, can I swear on this?
Yeah.
I think it's bullshit. I think it's absolutely bullshit that experience comes with age. Right. There's a lot of seniors that I know that don't know very much. And so here's my take on it. Experience, what is experience? Let's define it. It's basically the knowledge or the mastery of a specific subject. In this case, it's real estate, or I guess you could say working with clients in the real estate industry. And for me, experience comes through life lessons, challenges, opportunities, and again, involvement in the work. So you have new agents that haven't done a deal in their first year, haven't done a deal in their first 2 years. Now I think I'm on my 12th deal in 6 months. So for me, the experience has been, thank you. I appreciate it. So for me, it's just the experience comes with the involvement of the actual work. So to say, oh, you just started off, you're 22 years old, you're not that experienced. That's my biggest struggle. Hearing from my friends' parents, well, you're still a little young, oh, you're pretty new to the industry. Yeah, I get that, but my experience can tell otherwise. And that's what I really want to tell new agents is get the real experience. Work the 80 hours a week, talk to 100 people a day, meet a bunch of people, do the work, meet clients. And when you're working with clients, do the most for them. Do the absolute most for them. Ask them a ton of questions so that you're working from different lenses and you can get that full experience and the most out of that one client. Because that one client, that first client, it's your baby. Get the most out of it because that's what's going to propel you into the next client. So for me, experience does come with mastery. And so the biggest challenge is having people drop that stereotype that experience is translated with age. Because I don't think that's true. There's 50-year-old agents out there that don't know left from right, that don't know what pre-con is or even how to go about what a pre-con sale is or an assignment sale. So
and to go into that point, it's about how intensely you dive into it. So simple math would tell you if you didn't join the right brokerage and the hardcore team the McClay team, you're not getting that knowledge. If you're putting in 10 hours a week on real estate because you're licensed, but you have another job or you have another side hustle, what does that math look like at the end of a year at 10 hours a week? Not the same as the guy who put in 80 hours a week. So they could say, I've been in real estate for a year, but then that means they can't stand up to what your experience looks like. But you've only been in the industry for a year too. But you've been with a kick-ass team, but you've been banging 80 hours a week. You're in rooms and you're moving your cards around and you're just talking shop. I love it. I love that point that you make.
Thank you. I
that.
appreciate it.
And I think that is a big pain point for the new agents out there that acts as a big form of discouragement. So good on you for shining the light on there, being the youngest agent that we've had on this show and putting it out there. Just go hard. Go hard and surround yourself by the right people.
100%.
And that experience word, it's more loaded. Than just that impression that it gives off with passing in conversation like your friend's parents being like,
absolutely,
you're just young and it's good.
Great point. It resonates with me a lot too because we're only 2 years apart. So I remember even starting off when I was at the bank, I would lie about my age. I'd say I was a couple years older because again, it's like, who's this kid as some financial advisor, some mortgage broker going to tell me what I'm going to do when I got 50 years on them, 25 years, 30 years on them. So it definitely resonates a lot with me. But it's not just about the experience comes with age. It can come in many different factors.
For sure.
Put in that 10,000 hours. You know what I mean?
For sure. Put in that 10,000 hours. Funny you say about the line of the age thing. I did sort of the same thing with my first clients. My first clients were looking at $1 million townhomes. I'm like, okay, here we go. And they had no idea how old I was. So then by the third showing, I guess I must have worn something trendy. They were like, wait, how old are you? I was like, oh, I'm in my late 20s. They're like, yeah, that seems about right. And then I felt so bad at the end after we did the deal. I'm like, by the way, I'm not in my late 20s.
Yeah.
They were like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 22. They're like, you're 22? And I was like, I felt bad lying. I'm like, I just thought,
a little white lie to close the sale, but then you came back on it and did it. Very cool.
Yeah, I always get caught towards the end, 'cause they never come out asking you, but they're like, you start talking about, you get comfortable with the client,
right?
They start bringing up, you remember this place and that? No, I don't remember. And then they're like, oh, how old are you?
Right. They bring back the memories of the people who grew up in like the 80s and 90s. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's good. Funny. But I love the way you touch on those pain points, though, because I know there's a lot of people that get into the business and they exit it in a very short period of time because of that whole fear of the experience thing, right? And then they have to go the distance, and they put this number in their head, and everyone has a different number, maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then they start doing math, and then they scare themselves out of the business. So it's great that you came out and you have that outlook on it, and that truly is what it is at the end of the day, right?
No, and I appreciate that. And speaking on what you just said about the timeline, I think again that shouldn't happen. People who say 3 to 5 years, you won't last.
Yeah.
Because you already have a fixed mindset.
Yes, exactly.
You're not giving it all. Okay, I'm going to leave this industry in 3 years if it doesn't work out. Well, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out because you already gave yourself an expiration date. So it's not going to work. Like for me, I don't have a timeline. I could be an agent when I'm in the coffin. Yeah. I could be an agent maybe for the next 10 years and do something else. I don't know what the future holds, but for me, there isn't an end goal. You know what I mean? It's being in the present moment and doing the most now.
Right.
And then that's all you can really do.
Yeah. You're gonna be a monster.
Thank you.
In the game. He's gonna be he's gonna be a beast. In the
Thank
game,
you.
for sure.
That's awesome.
No, for such a young gentleman who's in an entrepreneurial space, and the way you're well articulated when you speak, and your knowledge on the industry and your understanding of what it takes, and wanting to hustle, and then even the lens that you look at it, it's all about the lens that you look at anything from, right?
For sure.
Whether it's from a pessimistic and an optimistic, but to be favoring the buyer.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people just want listings, right? But the way you spun it when you were talking about a buyer, on how that you enjoy that emotional journey and navigating that and going through it with them, right? It's just like I haven't heard that before either, right? In regards, it's almost like it's a bit of a piss off to these realtors, right? Given the buyer compared to us, they just want that listing, sell it, nice. But the way you looked at it, I was like, wow, he looks at that from underneath a total different lens, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about perspective. It's
really
all about,
is.
The angle you look at things from. And we can appreciate that, man, that optimistic,
for sure,
standpoint on things.
For sure. Yeah, no,
cool.
For me with like even just optimism, it's more about like, I found it when I did start off and people asked me, why did you get your license? I always gave them the same answer. It was people and possibility. So for the first aspect, like people, it's just, I love people. I fucking love people. I just fucking love people. Every time I meet people, I love people. And I love learning about their lives. I think about it, we're all human beings. Like there's so much that every single person has to offer. So I was just like, what business can I be in front of as many people as possible? Real estate. And then for me, possibility, like for me, just like diving back into my past, like there was a point when I think it was like 15 or 16, which I'll get a little bit into it about. I realized I was like maybe gay, and I was just like, I don't want to live anymore. So I like tried killing myself at like 16 years old. My parents found out. And after that recovery, that road of recovery, I was like, yo, anything is possible. Like literally anything is possible. The world is my oyster. Absolutely. And I can do whatever I want. Like life is beautiful. I shouldn't have, like, as sad as it is to say, I looked at it as such a negative way because I thought I had to take my life for whatever reason. And now full circle, it's just like, look how much possibility I've created just because I've switched my perspective. So it's like, now how can I do that for my clients? Like I want to make possible their dream home. I want to make possible that like buying their first property can be possible. Young investors who didn't think they can buy a property, let's make it possible for you. And even through that real estate journey, I also like to get a little bit in depth and like what's possible in your life. Like I like to hear like the single guys are having troubles with girls. Okay, well, let's make it possible. Like, do you need me to call one of my girlfriends up? Like, it's more than just it's just more than real estate.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome,
but it's true. Like people and possibilities, why I got into the industry. And I know it sounds guess you could say deep and philosophical, but it's the truth.
No, but it's truth. It's honesty and authentic.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
It's not something a lot of people would want to share, and I think it's extremely authentic and real to share that, because there's definitely a lot of people going through that trouble. Like,
again, 100%.
Just in the, to go outside of the real estate, the world we live in.
Yeah.
Wanting to, be in that closet for saying, and bowing down to how you feel. So that's awesome of you to overcome that, and
thank you,
and provide that in your everyday career as well.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Yeah.
It's sharing is
people and possibilities.
Yeah, people and possibilities.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 words.
Awesome.
Nice.
And if you stick by that, I feel like that's will give you success, and not just monetary success.
Yeah.
Just like all success all around.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. Amazing conversation with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And let everybody know where they can check you out.
Yeah, you can check me out at Instagram at Closed by Christian. You can also check out our website, www.tylermcclay.com. And then if you think I'm cute, you can text me at 647-862-5002.
Yeah.
Love that.
Guys, you got to check him out. You got to follow him. This young all-star Christian is going to be an absolute monster in the game. And it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And today's episode was sponsored by Nove Bace. Go check them out. They're an awesome Italian restaurant that have been around for a while, but they're under new management right now. They got an awesome pizza, pasta, bruschetta, calamari, and everything else that's standard on an Italian menu, right?
Yeah, amazing Calabrese pizza. Love their pizzas. And for those of you not Italian, 9 Baci. Check them out.
Keel and McNaughton.
Keel and McNaughton, yeah. And thanks again for tuning into this week's episode. Be sure to like, follow, and share, and hit the subscribe button below. We'll see you next week.
Next on What Would It Cost?
I'm a realtor that services primarily the Vaughan area. I was born and raised in Vaughan, so that's my bread and butter. Prior to that, I was a high school law and French teacher. I ended up going to university, got my degrees, and I realized there was more that I wanted for myself, for my family, for my sphere. And so after I graduated actually from York University, I got my Bachelor of Education. That week, literally, it was June, I believe, I went onto the Humber website and I was like, I'm getting my license. And I called my dad. I was like, hey, Pa, so I'm going to get my license. He's like, yeah, I told you to do that years ago.